What's up, Porch Nation? Welcome back to Porch Nation headquarters here in Worcester. A town on the rise, says the most recent issue of the Enfield, Massachusetts Gazette. It was week 12 here in the Greatest League, and it was massive. We had our fourth in-division week of the season, and we had some big showdowns. We got one team who's clinched a ticket to the playoffs. We have seeding and wildcard shakeups as well, so no time to waste. Week 12, 8 games, let's get into it. All right, week 12 is here. We had our first of 3 in-division games to wrap up the regular season, and although our standings didn't shake up, we are laying the groundwork for some last-minute chaos. Let's start then in the West Division, our least competitive race for division lead this season. I got a shot to take down my division leader and fan the flames of a surprise comeback for any of us that have been trailing Ethan this season. Well, I flopped on the opportunity. I was projected to win by a handful coming into this one, but 4 zeros and a -2 score won't win you nearly any games. Ethan's crew exceeded their projection, and he takes the season sweep on our 2023 series. Ross and Alex came into this face-off both 5 and 6. Ross had the head-to-head tiebreaker, having won in their face-off in week 1, and although the opportunity to win the division had been fading each week for both of them, the only chance either of them has to make the playoffs is to usurp Ethan, and that only comes with a sweep of the back 3. Well, Alex triples his pleasure this week by posting this week's highest score, getting revenge for his week 1 loss, and by staying 2 games back of the division lead with 2 games left. Things are heating up in the wildcard race and the division standings in the East. Pete needed to get a win this week to stay mathematically in the division lead race and to keep pace in the wildcard race. Jeff just needed his second win of the season. Well, mission accomplished for Pete as he takes the season series sweep over Jeff. Jeff barely missed his projection, but loses this one by about 13. Dylan has been nipping at the heels of Josh Marshall for weeks as they jockey for position heading into the home stretch. They came into this rematch 2 games apart. Dylan has also been fending off Pete to keep his spot in the wildcard race. Well, this one was a great matchup again and came down to less than 10 points. Dylan takes the season series sweep here and now permanently owns the head-to-head tiebreaker. He's 1 game back of first and still holds the 6th seed. Josh keeps his division lead for another week, but his margin of error is reduced to a half-game lead over Dylan. And now, on to the North Division. Both 5 and 6, Dee and Joe faced off for 3rd place in the division and a .500 record. Dee came into this one on a 3-game win streak, but just as he threw a wrench in Dylan's late-season plans last week, Joe put the kibosh on Dee's late-season rebound. Joe smashed his projection, and Dee missed by a bit. That puts Dee at 0-4 in division, with 2 more chances to correct that left to go. And now for our big showdown in the North, Steve came into this game 1 game out of first, and looking to even the score from his Week 9 loss. But Berger's team has been a force to be reckoned with all season long. Steve was able to beat his projection, but the projections for these teams were wildly different to begin with. Despite a high projection, Berger still beat his. With this win, he sweeps Steve for the season to the tune of 43+ points. Steve falls back 2 games out of first, and so with the head-to-head tiebreaker wrapped up, Berg clinches with this game and is officially the winner of the North Division this season. If Josh Marshall wins out and Berger loses out, Berg could fall back to the 2nd seed. And finally, our most competitive division race, the South. Adam came into this week the odd man out, but just 1 game behind the pack. Andy came in as part of a 3-way tie after having chased close behind Skinner 4 weeks before that. Well, this one came easier for Andy than even projected, as Adam snagged a pair of zeros. Adam's chances are long now, but with 2 divisional games to go, he plays a key role in who gets crowned in this division. Andy continues to steer out of his midseason skid with a second win in a row. And that leads us to our Game of the Week. The South Division has been a close race all season, despite the fact that our reigning Super Bowl champion has been in first place practically the whole time. In the past few weeks, the difference in the division has become nearly nil. Josh Steinberg came into this rematch having won 4 of the last 6. The first of those 4 wins came against Skinner. Skinsy came in on a 2-game skid and having lost 5 of the last 6 since losing to Josh. Well, both teams well exceeded their projections, but Skinner by over 30 and Josh by just under 20. This now splits their season series and puts Josh back 1 game out of first with games against Adam and Andy left to go. So now let's take a peek at our playoff picture, though it's once again virtually the same. I swear the odds and the seeds are still in play. The biggest change is our in the hunt crowd is less diverse, though 5 and 7 is not mathematically out. Take a look.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me?
And that's week 12, guys and gal. We had some big head-to-heads and set ourselves up for some big head-to-heads to follow. Look for Pete trying to even the score with Josh Marshall and tie things up in the East. And Andy and Skinner have essentially a week 13 playoff game happening as well. If both Pete and Dylan take losses this week, the wild card is still open to anyone with 5 wins or better right now. Just 2 weeks left. Can't wait to see the final results. Until next week, keep thriving, Porch Nation. Peppermint mocha. Nice touch, me.